Hi, this is ALOK Ranjan. Interview. One of the most one of the most mysterious event. I have been through 4 interviews in a particular year. I faced IAS interview plus Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh PCS interview because there was a trend of applying for all the examinations. We all were so insecure about our future. So I wrote in that eventful year around 4 mains and I qualified all where. So there was a spree, there was a complete, a sequence of interviews in my one of the finest year of my life, I will call. There were certain circumstances under which I was feeling suppressed, subdued. I was not really toned up with the current affairs, not confident. There were some issues in my life which I would like to forget at any point of time. Now, that's my story. So you have nothing to do with it. But all I was trying to tell you that those interviews have given me that insight in the moods, the wishes, the fancies, the whims of the chairman and the board. So there are 3-4 things which you have to keep in your mind. I will talk about geography and its role in interview, and especially I will talk about the geopolitics today. I'm also supposed to talk especially for the geography optional students as well. So my agenda today will be to reveal you the mysteries of IAS interviews, even a state PCS you can include. However, there is a huge difference, remarkable gap between the standard of questions asked in UPSC and state PCS examinations. So today we are here for the basic rules of interview, which you have to learn. Then some of the abstract questions which are asked in the interview. Then the sequence of the questions, how questions will be raised from your biodata, and how your biodata questions can be related with your general awareness, and then how your general awareness is then with depth, it is analyzed through numerous questions asked from different arena of life, different aspects of polity, economy, environmental aspects. We'll talk at length today. In my first interview, it was 4 o'clock evening, I said 4 p.m. But I was called in the morning itself. And so I was waiting since 11. And I started my journey from my rented house, my hostel rather. And then it all started from 7 in the morning. So by 4 p.m., there was a fatigue. There was a boredom. And I was not, oozing with energy like generally I will do. Generally, I will reflect energy and grace, spark. I don't know how to express it. That is what people say. But by 4 p.m., I was down. I was feeling a little low in energy. And that entire, the hype of that interview was gradually subsiding. Probably, if the interview would have been around 11 to 12, I would have blasted. I would have done much better. Now, first thing for you to learn that it never happens that you are there in the waiting area and you are very alert about the interview, and suddenly you will get the interview, the call from the interview board. It never happens. What may happen to you is that you will have to wait for longer hours sometime. Now, for the longer hour to sustain that kind of energy and a spark in your personality, it looks difficult. Because it cannot be all the time in your mental level 2. There are two mental levels, mental level 1 and 2. So mental level 1 is about a general person, a common person when you are interacting with your family, your friend. So that's mental level 1, where you are casual, where you are at ease. You are talking general things. You don't have to push your brain hard to get those facts correct and have to be accurate. It never happens. When you are talking to your friends, your enemy, not enemies, your family members and others. But when we come to, using our mental level 2, so we concentrate more, we are more focused, and we are recollecting some of the very, obscure facts from our past, from our learning in the past, from our experiences, from our intuitions. Now, when we try to collect all these, informations from our past, from our subconscious mind, what we do, we use our mental level 2. Now for that, your glucose and your, you will have a spike of glucose in your body, and everything is rushing towards your brain. And what happens that after 2 hours or 3 hours of that state of mind, which you can call it as, sympathetic mind or sympathetic body and mind condition, then your glucose level begin to fall, and you lose your spark, you lose your energy, you look little shabby, you look little, distressed, and when you enter the interview board, you are less by few marks. So sometime it could be circumstantial also. So that remember that there is always an X factor beyond your hard work, your perseverance, your knowledge, your everything. So there is always an X factor. Now this X factor or this variable could be called your destiny or called perchance or whatever terms you want to provide it with. Okay. So my first interview was, the destiny was fixed probably, it seems. And I was uncomfortable, not my best at all. So I entered the board and I said, good morning, sir. And it was 4 p.m. evening. So the interview board, entire board smiled and the chairman corrected me, but it's fine evening today. I was embarrassed, totally embarrassed. And then I was, in that embarrassment, I was taken aback. Suddenly I was shocked. So this is how my interview started. Now you have two things to learn here. First thing is that how to maintain that energy, that grace, that spark, that alertness, that spontaneity in your body and mind. So you can only maintain that when you are not under any kind of pressure or under any kind of insecurity or fear of the interview. You have to be normal and casual as you are talking to your parents, as you are talking to your beloved ones. So learn first thing, based on my experience, that you don't have to be extra alert and extra hyped just because you are going to face an interview, because your mental level 2 has started in the waiting area itself, and your glucose and a spike and everything is dying down with time. You cannot sustain that. So be normal, be absolutely cool. That is called sympathetic mind. That is called parasympathetic mode of your body and mind. So in parasympathetic mode of body and mind, you are like in penance, like a sage. So just cool down yourself. Allow your nervous system to cool down. Don't get that hype unnecessarily. Don't burn your extra glucose in your body. I'm talking like a logist. No, 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 no. These are all truth. There are certain psychological aspects, certain psychosomatic aspects which are related to interview. With nobody, I haven't seen anyone talking about all this. So from my side, my first request to you will be that be cool. I have given you a scientific explanation for how actually you are, you will start feeling down and low as the time passes in the waiting area. Okay. So what is parasympathetic and what is sympathetic mode? I would like to give you one example. What to explain? Allow me. Now, when you are passing through a jungle and you have a constant fear that there must be a tiger or any carnivore around me. So you are walking with a fear in your mind, right? That's sympathetic mode. And then your body, mind, all are constricted, your organs, all are in a strain. Your personality is subdued, you are fearful, you are walking with overconscious, mind and body. Over alertness, some kind of urgency, some kind of, hectic, movements will be there for you. Now I tell you, before the interview, because you are going for IAS interview, the biggest thing which is going to happen in your life, so you tend to be in similar mode, in similar conduct. Trust me, this happens to all. I can boast of that now I am a very, jnani person or a settled person, peaceful mind. But it happened to me also. When I have to take my first class, I go in sympathetic mode. I'm not normal. I'm overbehaving. I'm overreacting. I get more emotions. But I find that with 1 hour in the class, well spent 1 hour in the class, all things will soothe down. I will be a little, complacent, and behavioral aspect as a teacher will improve. This is what happens. This is what happens to everybody. So it's quite normal for you that before interview you are extra hyped, or you are extra sensitive, you are extra emotional. Now, my suggestion will be, before the interview, at least for a day or two, be with yourself, not with your parents, not with your well-wishers, not with your friends, not with your anybody. Just be with yourself at least 1 or 2 days before the interview. You, your books, and your study materials, the same room where you prepared your mains. So be there. Or maybe there is another idea. You can hire one room in a 5-star hotel. It might be sounding so odd to a lot of people. But trust me, this is true. If you give yourself a better condition of your existence, at least for a day, you will feel elated, more happy. You're happier. Your happy hormones are in your body and mind. So the feeling of being interviewed, and then your stay in a good 5-star hotel with all those good conditions and food, you will be elated, more energized. Now, this is my suggestion. You are the takers. If you don't want to take it, I'm okay with it. But this is my suggestion. Now, I have talked 2 things by far. A, before the interview, don't be in the sympathetic mode. Don't be overconscious. Don't be fearful. Don't burn your glucose, spike your glucose in your body, and you will be low at the right moment. You will be low on energy. Second suggestion which I have given you is that before the interview, you must be, placed in a very comfortable place, a place where everything is soothing around you. No calls. No mobiles, no well-wishers, only your knowledge, your books, yourself. Keep talking to yourself, keep rehearsing yourself. That's the greatest thing which you can do before the interview. Anyways, that was the preparatory stage before an interview. Now, when you go in the board, don't be conscious about your clothings and all. So sometime I remember I was wearing a black suit, rather navy blue suit, blackish navy blue suit, and a glamorous tie, red and yellow dots kind of tie. I looked good. I looked in the mirror. I peeped into the mirror, gazed at myself, and I believed that I'm going to get 240. Just looking at me, this 6 foot tall and looking all right. And I have definitely have good spoken language with me. I have this caliber. So I believe that I will be given 240 out of 300. You know how much I got? I will tell you towards the end of my interview, or my session today. So I entered there. I was gracefully, smartly dressed, but I was not comfortable. Some tickling was there because I could never wear a tie. That was not usual for me. So something was tickling here. I was uncomfortable because the pressure of my belly, the belly part, centrifugal force aa raha tha belly se. So it was like outward and the pant was a little tight, so I was uncomfortable. Then in the daytime, I had a horrible lunch. I took some pet patties and 1 or 2 cups of coffee, some biscuits I chew. So some gastric. So it all contributes. Believe me, these are all truth. These are all microscopic things. These are all minor things, maybe for many others. But as a teacher, as a guide, I will suggest you to keep all these also as part of your interview preparation. So you have to be in a very comfortable dress, a nice sari for the females or a salwar suit, and for male, there could be a white shirt and a black pant. You look pretty good there. And if you are comfortable with tie, at least loosen the tie a bit. Ekdam tight karke till here. If you go, it looks fake also sometime. I have seen one of my seniors getting 240. He was from a very poor rural area. And Professor Hota was in the board. He was the chairman. He gave him 240. And he was wearing only a white shirt and a pant. He was very lean, and according to the physical standards of the world, he was not even good looking. So every parameter failing. His accent was not good. His English was also poor. He got 240. Now, this gives me a strong reason to believe that interviews are never about how you dress up, what is your haircut, your presentation. I don't think so. I seriously don't think so. You have to look decent. You have to look good. But more important is that your behavior should be decent. Your inner world, your inner conscience should be pure. That is what will be discovered, investigated in the interview boards. Now, talking about myself again, so when I entered the board, there was a suicidal throw from my side. I said good morning. It was all, I thought it was all summed up there. But let me tell you, the interview board was giving me more opportunities. But I was always thinking of that, oh my God, I have totally destroyed my chances. I was contemplating. Here was a question coming from geopolitics. There was a recitation coming from the chairman of some Sanskrit sloka and asking me. He was trying to ease me out because the board is not to reject you. The board is there to select you. So they want you, first they will take you in a comfortable zone. Even if you are nervous, even if you are not doing so well, you are scary about the bunch of people around you. But they are not carnivores looking for a prey. No. They are more like your father figures. They are more like your own family members. Be comfortable there. Look at them with high respect. Think of them as one of the greatest, the most learned, the most, versatile persons of your country. Have that in your mind. So the respect will come naturally. And that is what will make you more comfortable. So my another suggestion is that don't interpret what has happened before. Even you have to delete, you have to obliterate all those thoughts which keep coming, parallel to your conversation. You are talking to the board and you have some parallel thoughts running in your brain. What do? You start judging yourself. Oh, I'm right or wrong. So that conversation must be stopped. And if you're honest, if you're making honest statements, you will be deciphered. The board members will decipher you. Yes, he's the right person. He's honest. He is genuine. That is where the magic lies. So honesty is the best policy. So be honest to the board. Look at them as if you are talking to your father. So get inner, high respect for them, for their knowledge. And sometimes the board will be wrongly quoting themselves. Deliberately, they will wrongly quote something to see your reactions. And when you overtly react, oh, no, sir, I'm sorry, but you are wrong. You are gone. There yourself, your passions, your behavior will be tested. And you have to be polite throughout your interview. You cannot just, act there to be good. There are two set of people. Understand now. There are two set of people. A, I am good. This is permanent sentiment. I am good. Permanent character. I am good. And second is, look, I am good. So there are a lot of people who are pretending to be good, but they are not good. So in the interview, when you go and you try to pretend that I am good, I am knowledgeable, I am smart, actually you are spoiling your chances. You know why? Because those learned people have lived their lives. They are 60 plus, vastly experienced, 3 times more than your age. They have lived eras in their life. They have been in different, at the top position of the different, departments, different helms of affair. So, vastly experienced. Don't try to cheat them. Don't try to falsify them. Don't try to snag them. Don't try to be over smart by doing any of your activities. I hope you understood all this, because these are the things which you have to keep in your mind. And when you enter the board, you have to wish to the lady first. That's the rule. Good morning, ma'am, if you happen to see a female. Or I suggest it is better if you can fold your hand the Indian way and bend down your head. Good morning, sir, to the chairman, and then turning right and little left, instead of wishing them good morning, sir, good morning, ma'am, good morning, sir, sir. This looks odd. So it is better the Indian way, just with folded hand, you go there and bend your head before them. That will create massive impression, I am telling you. Trust me, this is true. Okay, then while coming out of the board, when you are coming out of the board, then again when you get up, when you stand up to move out, again do the same thing. Close your hands, fold your hands, turn down 180 degree, more than before, little more than before, because when you enter the board and when you with folded hand, when you bend more, it again looks odd. But after interaction, when you fold more, then it simply means that you have evolved more respect for them after that half an hour interaction. I hope all these are going deep into your minds, and I hope you will take care of all this, because in the interview, it is less about the knowledge. It is more about your personality. And you cannot fake your personality. So interview preparation starts with PT examination or even UPSC, even reading NCERT itself. Transform your personality. Be a generous person. I have seen many students who will be preparing their notes and hiding them out in their bed, putting them in a corner, hiding the notes from their friends. What are you doing, man? You think that your notes are so precious that after reading the notes, your friends will become IAS and you will become not. So when you go to your friend and you ask him something, he's not able to respond, then you also say, no, mujhe bhi nahi pata, even I don't know. Why you are tasting him? So think of all this behavior. And if such behavior continues in your personality, which you learn in 2-3 years of preparation, then that behavior cannot be changed in a day or two. Because once the interview call comes, after the interview call, you have hardly 2.5 months or 2 months to prepare. Hardly 2 months to prepare. And in 2 months, don't think that you can transform your personality. So seek the transformation with the beginning of preparation itself. Be honest to yourself. Be kind to the world. If you want respect from the world, you have to respect the rest. Respect the world. So develop all this goodness inside you. All these, the great attributes of human being in you. Then one more thing. The interview board is so smart, so experienced, that they will try to take out your regional consciousness. You are going for IAS interview. You will be in civil services, the top job of this country, and you have some regional consciousness or regionality inside you. I am a Haryanavi, I am a Marathi, I am a Bihari, I am a Kannad. Such kind of feeling, if you go in the interview with such kind of feeling, you are not selected, because certain questions definitely will be asked from the national issues, and there you have to reflect a strong nationalism, not cultural nationalism, but a strong nationalism. Nationalism is not a political theory. It's merely a sentiment. Love for your nation, love for humanity, love for your people. Considering that all people living from northeast to Bhuj to Manipur to Kanyakumari to Kashmir, all the people are yours. This kind of feeling, this kind of sentiment. So they will definitely ask you some question to test your idea on nationalism. Maybe they will ask you with respect to certain interstate disputes. They can ask you some questions on interlinkages of rivers and the issues. They can ask you on the transportation lines and so many regional development issues and tribal area development or whatever. So such questions could be raised. Even questions could be raised on how you propose to develop your own district or your own village, and there you have to reflect your enormity of ideas. The highest ideals, the loftiest ideals of humanity or humanism or welfareism. So check yourself whether the questions coming to you are testing your knowledge or testing your secular credentials. So don't reflect regional consciousness or regionality whenever you speak in the interview. Second, in your interview, don't even reflect any kind of inclination for any ideology. You don't have to be a Marxist to be secular, I'm telling you. And rightists are not insecular at all. Centralist position is the best position. So don't be a rightist or a leftist, be centralist. I hope you are getting my points. Now, when you are a centralist, you will not give a prejudiced view or a biased opinion. You will be giving your free ideas, your liberal ideas, your independent ideas, your honest ideas. Now, when you have, when your answers are having such composition like secular ideas, truly secular ideas, without showing any inclination to political parties or any political affiliation or any cultural affiliation or any emotional attachment to any particular, rituals or belief or faith, then you are doing good. So don't pretend to be secular, be secular, be a centralist, take a centralist position. Now third idea, first मैंने क्या बताया, second मैंने क्या बताया. First one is regional consciousness, don't reflect, regionality don't reflect, nationalist बनो. Second, don't try to be leftist or rightist, be the centralist. Now third idea is even much superior to the previous ideas. Being positive all the time in the interview, being hopeful. even if you are writing mains, you have to be hopeful about a great future of this country and great future for humanity as a whole. Now, in the interview also, even if there is a problem and you are discussing a problem, you must try to find solution also. So be in a solution mode rather than talking about the negatives and and feeling with a feeling that everything is wrong, everything is happening wrong all around. Don't be in such negative, set of mind. You have to be in a positive set of mind. So when you are in a positive set of mind, you will be creating great impressions, right? And since you are a young bud joining civil services, the administration and the fate of the country is in your hand, not in the hand of the old people. You are the future. And if the future of the country is not positive, if the future of the country is influenced by social media, if the future of the country is affiliated to a particular ideology, that can give setback to the growth of this nation. So trust me, you have to be non-affiliated to any ideology. You have to be positive. You have to beaming with energy, beaming with happiness, always coming out with solution. You will get the maximum marks. You are going to maximize your marks. You are going to leave an impression. And when you leave the board and the board is still smiling, you have done the magic. That is what is the magic of interaction. मैं क्या बताऊं, I left my class yesterday in GS and the whole class was clapping. I had tears in my eyes. So even a person like me who is quite successful in his own way and everything at my feet, whatever, physical desire a human being can have, but still I love admiration of people. I look for admiration of people. Similarly, if you are in the board and you are soft and you have left the other people admiring you, you have created that magic and you will be getting very good marks. I'm not talking about getting 130 to 150 in the board. I'm talking about getting 240, 200 plus marks. So when you get 200 plus marks, it is never about your knowledge. It's all about your inner personality, the way you interacted with them, the kindness which you reflected in the board, the respect which you bestowed to them. It all matters. It doesn't matter how you are dressed up, how you look like, how you're posing yourself. It doesn't matter to the board at all. Now, this was my first session. I never prepared for any speech. It was all spontaneous and it came from my heart only, based on my experience. And then I have been talking to so many students every year who go for interview. And after the interview, when they come to me, I again interact with them, trying to find out what all questions were asked. Now, based on this kind of survey, my 1100 students are in civil services. And trust me, this is true. This is true. I'm quoting myself again. More than 1100 students in IAS and allied, whatever. So I'm vastly experienced this way. This is how I talked about this psychological aspect. Now talking about another aspect of the interview. That is how the questions will be asked and what will be the structure of the interview. How generally it goes. Now, old times are gone. Seriously, the old times are gone. And in the last years and in the coming future, most of the questions are concentrated on your consciousness, your general awareness. We all exist in a cultural environment. We exist in a political environment. We exist in an economic environment, a social environment. So your consciousness about economy, not knowledge really, and knowledge obviously is required. So your consciousness, your awareness about economic environment around you, and the prospects of development, the problems there, that analysis. Similarly, you have cultural environment surrounding you, and you have the physical environment. So there will be questions from economy, from polity, from socio-cultural dimensions, from environment, from the physical environment or the environment ecology, because global warming is the talk of the decade. Everyone is talking about global warming and the Earth summits, and you know all about this. Okay, so your questions will be generally concentrated over the physical environment, that's ecology, the socio-cultural environment, that could be some societal problem, some national issues, some secularism or such questions, communalism or such questions, that could be anything. Women empowerment, poverty, unemployment, all these problems can be asked. That's one domain. So you can divide your interview syllabus into A, physical environment, physical ecology, and physical ecology mein what all subjects will be more important. You can list it down. In the physical environment, you can have subjects like global warming and climate change. Second, man's impact on environment, how man is influencing the environment. So man's impact on environment. Third, global warming and the global impact. Man influencing the environment, environment influencing man. So global impact of environment, environmental degradation, ecological imbalances. You can keep writing also, ecological imbalances, pollution, so many types of pollution, their impact, solution, then natural disasters, flood, drought, earthquake, volcanism, tsunami, list hai pura, landslides, avalanche, pura list hai. So talk about the environmental hazards, make a list of environmental hazards, learn about them. That is what you call disaster management. Now, this part of environment can invite so many questions. Most of the questions will be centered around the current summits, IPCC reports, the issues which are related with our urban environment, because this particulate pollution is in the urban environment, the heat island theories which are in urban environment, most of the population in the world is living in the urban environment, and urban environment have been worst hit by the global warming phenomena. So if the general temperature of the earth has risen by 1.6 degree, the urban areas temperature have risen by 3 to 5 degree. So the worst influence is coming over the urban environment. So now there is a tendency of questions being asked from urban environment. I'm not talking about the geography optional students. These questions could be asked to anyone. Geography as a subject is more or less general studies. Geography as an optional also is more or less as general studies. So when you prepare for geography optional, only 40% syllabus belong to hardcore geography and 60% syllabus belongs to general studies. So when you prepare for geography optional, your 60% preparation goes for general studies. If you are reading resource, industry, agriculture, environment, biogeography, contemporary issues, trade and transport, regional development and planning, geopolitics, political geography, imagine. Monsoon, global warming, climate change, whatever you do in geography optional, they all become important for general studies. Therefore, geography optional students need not worry about the interviews, because geography is the best subject for preparing for your interview. I'm telling you the truth. And you will realize it also. Because geography in its syllabus has everything. Regional planning bhi hai yaar. स्ट्रेटजी ऑफ प्लानिंग है, नीति आयोग है, ग्लोबलाइजेशन है, पूरा इन्वायरमेंट है, पूरा एग्रीकल्चर है, पूरा रिसोर्स ज्योग्राफी है, रिसोर्स कंजर्वेशन, रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट. Now, once you know the theories of resource conservation and management, you can apply it in the any context. You can apply in your village context. How to conserve your biotic resource in your village. So you can talk about agroforestry, you can talk about social forestry, you can talk about community forestry. That is what geography does. It will organize all the current affairs with the basic knowledge, and you are prepared for. So geography optional students need not worry much. You should not worry much about the interview, because the questions will be asked from geopolitics, and you have learned a lot. Interstate disputes, inter-river water disputes, boundary disputes, India and South Asia, India and the world, geopolitics of Indian Ocean, Indian Federation, how India is a great federation, regional consciousness, regionality, regionalism, ये सब your geography optional paper is having. So go through that, go through those topics. Even your IR will be prepared automatically, isn't it? So for geography optional students, you need not worry much. Whatever is has been mentioned in your syllabus, they are definitely going to be asked, not in the name of geography, but in the name of general studies. A lot of people fear, a lot of people talk about this in Karol Bagh area, that geography has vast syllabus, so don't take it as an optional. That's a myth, that's the biggest myth. That's another story. I got carried away a little. Now I was telling you that in the physical environment, physical ecology, you can have such questions. All right. Now, political environment or the political political ecology, political ecosystem in which we exist. So there we have so many topics within our country and across the national boundaries. So you can have so many questions, but I'm telling you one thing, very important thing I'm telling you. Ukraine and Russian crisis is going on. Now, political perspectives could be different, but geopolitical perspectives are different. And politics comes out of geopolitics. Geopolitics is the mother of all the war, all the aggressions, all the confrontations, all the conflicts. Mother of all is geopolitics. And that is what geography, that is where geography will become advantageous for you. See, in Ukraine war, as a geographer, I can tell you that Arctic basin is full of petroleum. And Europe is heavily relying on Russia for energy resources, petroleum, natural gas and all. Now Russia knows that I command the resources. Plus, Russia also knows my location is inaccessible from three parts. And from three parts I am safe. And only the western part or the Eastern European part, I am not so safe. So Russia will tend to create a buffer zone to protect itself and will try to prevent NATO from reaching its boundaries. So Russia will definitely expect the previous, parts of Russian Empire or the USSR to be loyal to itself. Otherwise, they will earn the wrath of Putin. And that is what exactly has happened. So geopolitics is based on, the current war is also based on energy crisis. I can tell you more, that in West Asia, the petroleum resources are going to be finished, extinct in next 20 to 50 years at the max. By 2070 or 2055 itself, there are two dates. By 2055, the resources will be over from West Asia. And West Asia, that petrodollar economy countries, they will have maybe the camel age, advent of camel age again, advent of the war, the medieval times again, like Afghanistan. What is the difference between Afghanistan and West Asia? Same, the difference is one of petroleum. If petroleum wells will be in Afghanistan, people will be similarly dressed and rich and having all those, flashing cities. But Afghanistan doesn't have petroleum, so Afghanistan looks like a poor country. And they have Taliban. The mindset of West Asia is also Taliban. But they have this flashy world, shiny world because of that petrodollar economy. Now when West Asia is going to lose its resources, Russia will be ruling supreme the whole world and trying to establish its hegemony across the different countries. Now that hegemony is in the perspective and consciousness of NATO and United States of America. They are trying to curb Russia. They are looking for alternative source of energy. And this is what is determining the geopolitics, war and warfares. Now, what Russia is doing, trying to control Ukraine and the oil fields and petroleum and the wheat of steppes, trying to form a buffer zone along its western boundary. And then Russia will try to exploit and claim the resources of Arctic, because in 1972 itself, Russia has claimed, based on Heidelberg Principle, Sunna dhyan se, based on Heidelberg Principle, that a country can have rights to economic exploitation as far as their continental margins will extend in the ocean. Continental margins meaning continental shelf, slope and rise. Now the Siberian continental shelf is almost extending 70% of the Arctic basin. So Russia is claiming, based on Heidelberg Principle, that continental margin below the Arctic Ocean is my land. So any resource there, Russia keeps the right to exploit them. Getting or not? So if Russians are going to exploit the resource, it is going to rule the world. So geopolitics and even all the, the political maneuverings, the foreign policy makings, they're all influenced by nothing else but resources, especially the energy resources, world trade, locations. So geography plays a big role in understanding the current international relationships and even the foreign policies. I hope you understood this point. So geography optional students need not worry much about the interview, I'm again telling you. But you have to go through the right kind of material, right kind of books and refresh everything. But try to analyze even world politics, world political affairs with geographical perspective. Something like the geopolitics of Indian Ocean. Diego Garcia per anti-ballistic missiles. What US is doing there and why US even away from their land, 16,000 kilometers away from their land, they're having anti-ballistic missiles. Why the West Asian countries are being hobnobbed by different superpowers. China with some countries, Socotra, Chagos, Tanzania. UK with some country. Russia with Iran, Iraq was trying to be closer to even Syria. Now, US with Saudi Arabia, UAE. India is always a neutral country that gives us benefit also, that has some kind of losses also. Okay, so the whole world is now hovering around the Indian Ocean and the littoral countries of the Indian Ocean because of the resources. So all the geopolitics in the world is driven by two factors: A, location; B, resource. I hope you understood this. So in the interview board, you can explain all these, political problems, international issues with generic principles. Try to explain them with generic principles. You will be like, doing so good. And you will sound so grave. You will sound so enlightened. And they can feel that, oh, this man has that deep knowledge. All right. Now, I talked about the environmental ecology. I talked about the political ecology. Then in the social sphere, you will have questions. Questions mainly on secularism these days. Most of the world countries are now ruled by the rightist, so-called rightist. After the fall of Trump, maybe some of the balancing act or power balance is taking place across the world, but still the rightists are ruling some of the countries. And somewhere in the name of leftist, the rulers are, the autocrats are authoritarian. They have become authoritarian. China, North Korea, Venezuela, Cuba. There are so many examples. So even in the social affair or social ecology, these days what is being talked about is secularism, cultural nationalism. So all the topics will relate to secularism, cultural nationalism. Women is a very big issue these days. So women empowerment, and maybe child labor, maybe poverty, maybe unemployment, that you are very much aware of it. So prepare on them. And that's your social affair. But must learn about the demography. Some questions from demography could be asked also, because the root cause of social problems could be the population growth rates. All right. So learn about demography and some demographic data as well. Then you can think of the migration as an special issue. Migration, questions coming from migration, especially the geography optional students, because refugees migration. Already we have CA issue in India, not implemented. So we have this issue in India, and we have another issue, refugees, war refugees from Ukraine. Almost 50 to 60 lakhs refugees are have moved into different countries, European countries. So that's another issue which has now people fleeing from North America, North Korea, people fleeing from China, people fleeing from Afghanistan after the Taliban regime. So migration is going to be, or refugee migration is going to be another major issue in this interview, in this particular year. All right. So migration to demography to women to prepare on all this. Prepare some good notes on them. Relate with some case studies also. So for everything which you speak, you must have an example with you to explain. You must have illustrations. You must try to elucidate that particular theme. And that could be done with some case studies also. So case studies and examples will hold the key where you can actually reflect on your knowledge. But I can tell you something, that when you start speaking good and you are going with the flow, you think that you are doing so well, the chairman will interrupt. Okay. And they will ask you next question. Don't get demoralized. Listen to the next question. Don't get irritated also. They deliberately do it. And when you are thinking that you are at the peak, now you are going to conclude your point, they will interrupt you. Don't get irritated. Smile as if nothing has happened to you. Don't reflect anything on your face. Cool down. शांत रहना. क्योंकि ऐसे कुछ भी करोगे, they are going to identify, अच्छा, he reacts, he was annoyed, they will be offended. I'm telling you. Another microscopic thing. Now, when they ask the second question, interrupting your flow, then smile, respond again. They will interrupt again, respond again. This game will go on. And if you win this game, if you come out victorious in this mental game, 240 is on. 200 plus to pakka on hai. Okay? All right. Now, after that, physical, political, and social, you have the economic ecology. Now, in the economic scenario around you, starting with the globalization, basic globalization, impact of globalization, MNCs, liberalization, privatization, सब पे disinvestment, 6 Ds जिसको कहते हैं 6 Ds, like disinvestment, delicensing, deregulation, deconcentration, decentralization, diversification of economy. There are 6 Ds for economy. Now, learn all this. Again, go through all this. Learn the budget, economic, जो budget of India आया, economic budget आया, economic survey आया हुआ है, budget आया हुआ है, railways का भी थोड़ा देखना चाहिए. So you go through all these procedures, the basic norms, and prepare on them also. Now, what I am telling you from geographical perspective, other than this, that in the economic ecology, we have, in geography, we have A, resources, resource conservation, resource management, resource utilization, resource distribution, resource deficit, resource dilemma, resource as a curse, globalization of resources. There are so many topics. I hope you understood all this. And I hope you will repeat the video and watch again so that you can note it down. So all these aspects of resources should be learned. In UPSC interview board, they are not going to ask you, coal kahan milta hai, where is found coal, how much coal is produced by India and what is the state sequence. Absurd, rubbish. They will never ask you such questions. But they will ask you how to secure our energy sector. Because we only have, not even 1% of the world petroleum and natural gas, but we have substantial amount of coal in India. So how coal gives us that energy security? Aisa question. Samajh mein aaya? So these kind of questions should be prepared. Uranium and thorium. We have abundance of thorium, but not uranium. So which all technologies are being developed to use the monazite sand of Malabar coast? World's, 50% almost uranium is with us, 42%. Previously it was 98%. Now Brazil also have some thorium. So India ka thoda ghat gaya. Now from energy sector, energy crisis, there could be so many questions here in resource geography. Now in resource geography, another vital point will be water resource. These are all not for geography optional student, because water resource and water crisis is for the whole humanity. There is nothing like geographical concerns here. It's for all. So water crisis in the world. It is said that the next world war will be on water crisis. And in the context of global warming, the water crisis is likely to hit this world. So, water crisis pe tayar karo. And when we say water resource, it is a huge topic. Surface water, groundwater, running water, hydrological cycle, prepare on them, and then prepare on watershed management, how to conserve water. So, watershed management, water harvesting techniques, and interlinking of rivers, सब पे तैयार करना है. Interstate river water disputes, prepare on all. Major hydel power projects, prepare there also. Why we are shifting from the big dams, which were called by Nehru as the temples of New India, why we are shifting from those massive temples of New India to the small temples, meaning to the small check dams. We are not talking about reservoir-induced seismicity. Koyana may it happen, Mangala Dam may it happen. So the questions could be asked from water resource, but the dimensions are too many. So that was your resource. All right. Now after resource, you have another topic in geography or economic ecology. That will be agriculture. Agriculture. In GS paper 3 mains, I found crop diversification. Now crop diversification was completely a geographical topic. So whatever, chalo koi baat nahi, even landform is part of geography. In our syllabus it is there, so you must have seen also. So you have the socio-ecological implications of landform, agricultural infrastructure, new landform policies bhi padhna hoga. I have given this material to my students of my optional batches. So land reform pe kar lo. Fir new land reform policies, even that has to be prepared. Then agriculture infrastructure, HYV to new seeds to BT cotton to all those issues, related issues, environmental issues related with HYV. Karo. Chemical fertilizer, green revolution, evergreen revolution. More now talk is about evergreen revolution. Modi ji is talking. Our great APJ Kalam also propagated this idea. evergreen revolution, sustainable development of agriculture. Then you can prepare on crop combinations which are there in India, cropping productivity, cropping pattern of India. Because when you do this, it gives you the general knowledge, and the same can be applied when such questions are asked, like how would you propose to change the agricultural landscape of your district or your state to increase the productivity of agriculture? Because your state is not based on mineral, your state is based on agriculture. So how you propose to develop? This question could be asked to anyone, irrespective of being geography student or not. I must tell you here that most of the questions will be asked from general awareness, and there are no subject specific questions. I am repeating again, there are no subject specific questions as such. The questions are mostly from general awareness. These days there are no questions, hardly any question is asked from optional subject. Previously, if you are from mechanical engineering, they will ask you questions from mechanical engineering. But now they are more checking your, I'm not saying that they will not ask you, they can ask you one or two, but they are mostly checking your general awareness, general consciousness, your alertness, your analytical power, your own perception, your own individual perception. Okay, so coming back to that agriculture part. So from agriculture, you can have so many questions. And now trade and transport. And even I will invite the GS student with any optional to look into the geography optional syllabus, because that will give you the guideline. The topics will give you the direction. So if you go through them, in trade and transport, you have all the contemporary topics. All the topics are basically from current affair. Trade policies, ये भी है. Even EEZ, SEZ, it is there. The railways, railroad complementarity, inland waterways, pipelines, national highways, golden quadrilateral, this सागर, क्या है ये, कौन सा माला है जो रोड्स बन रहा है, green क्या तो था, green corridors and all. So all these will be asked. You have to be prepared on them. ये सब current affair में भी आता है. Okay. Now next topic will be industries. Now mostly you concentrate on the industrial policies. The new industrial policy of 2020 has come. So there is a likelihood of being asked some questions from industrial policy. Even the forest policy, population policy, mineral policies, ये सब पढ़ लेना चाहिए. You must visit the websites of urban development, environmental ministry, human resource development, and their Department of Human Resource and the website, and you will find a lot of material there. So you can take out you can extract some material from these websites and make your own notes on them. Still there is enough time for you. Okay, so trade and transport will be another topic. Then prepare on population problems, population resource ratio in India. Where is population resource ratio high? Meaning more population, less resource. Where is the resources high but population is less, and where there is a balance between population and resource. So ऐसा कुछ analysis about your country, because these terms can be used even with reference to your state and your district. In your own state, there will be certain districts which are highly developed. Some districts will be less developed. So there you can use this principle. Population is high, resource is less, therefore you have poverty. ये theoretical basis है. These are the generic principle. They are the generic causes of why poverty prevails, why backwardness prevails. The theory is population resource ratio. All right. Now, in one class, it is very difficult to sum up, the current and the subject which could be asked, the dimensions which could be asked, and then explaining them, very difficult. But still, I hope you are catching up with things. Now, taking you to another topic, which could be asked for anyone, that will be on regional development and planning issues, जैसे पंचायती राज, multi-level planning, democratic decentralization, such topics. Prepare on them. Grassroots democracy है ना ये, तो ये you have to prepare on them also. Then you have hill area development programs, tribal area development programs, drought prone area development programs, water commission report, flood commission reports. Go through them. ये पूरा कर लो. So then you will have a list of such a big list of questions which will create a framework for you to learn. And then you have in the last prepare on क्या है वो population geography, on population subjects. Already I talked about it on demography. I remember. So these will be the total areas which will be covered. Now something for geography optional students, few topics are only special to you, which others need not prepare. So such topics will be your monsoon, El Nino, La Nina, Modoki, Madden-Julian circulation, INSO, INSO, Southern Oscillation, SO, Southern Oscillation, and all the related topics. Second area which can be identified is thermohaline circulation. कल ही पढ़ाया है. Thermohaline circulation, and in thermohaline circulation you have so many topics like one, AMOC, Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, AMOC. Then you have SOMO, Southern Oscillation, Southern Ocean Meridional Overturning, SOMO. So you have SOMO, AMOC, thermohaline, impact of global warming. ये वाला पार्ट भी तैयार करना है. Then in climate, you have to prepare on little ice age, and prepare on heat dome, and the rising temperature, the hot summers in Canada. That was another topic. Then you have another one. Heat domes के बाद क्या होगा? The heat waves in Europe, the cold waves in North America, the polar vortex, the weakening of the polar vortex and the impact. Something maybe could be asked on Rossby waves and their connection with the temperate cyclones. So these are some of the special topics for geographers or geography optional students. All right. Now I am going to discuss the last agenda of my, even though I haven't come with any agenda, it is all spontaneous, but the last agenda which is hitting my brain screen is talk about what possibly will be asked when you face the interview. So in a stage 1 of the interview, you will be asked from biodata. From biodata you will be asked. Maybe your basic introduction, so prepare your introduction, then questions from biodata. Now from biodata, you can have questions from your town or your village or maybe your district, which your district is having, which all resources, which all industries, which are problems, what is the cropping pattern, what is the agricultural type, what is the water crisis situation there, how is the infrastructure. They can ask you on anything. Be prepared. Why the name of your village is such and so, why the district is called such and so, why your district is famous for, what development you will like to bring in your district, what you will do as an IAS officer in your district. Such questions are pertinent. They are going to be asked. All starts with biodata. Then second question could be on your education. On your education, maybe your graduation your graduation subject is more important than your optional. They are likely to ask you more questions on graduation subject than optional. Why it is so? Because they understand that you have prepared optional very well. This is how you are in the board. That's the reason you have done well in your optional. This is how you are in the board. So they will not ask you anything from optional, but this cannot be the rule. They can ask you one or two questions, but mostly the questions will be from graduation subject. Now say your subject is mechanical engineering or physics or Hindi literature or anything, Urdu. They will ask you questions from there. पूछता है वहां से questions पूछता है. Law कर रखे हो तो they will ask you questions from law. So from the biodata they will ask you on your district, your home. They will ask you on education, and then they will ask on your own personality, meaning your typology. Your typology, which type of person you are. You are an emotional person, your good qualities, your bad qualities. So your typology will be investigated there. They will be investigating in your typology. तुम कैसे इंसान हो, क्या हो? So some related questions could be there. Now here you can have two set of questions. One could be situational. To test your personality, they can throw some situational questions. I am giving you one example. This was asked to me. They asked me that you are sitting in this UPSC Bhavan and it's all surrounded. There is no one in the house, in the UPSC house. You are alone and you find that it has caught fire in some corner. Now what you will do? So I instantly reacted that the phones which were there, I said I will try to ring. So then they said, no, the phone is not working. You found that phone is not working and the fire is catching up. Then I looked around and there was a blanket. So I will, if the fire is in a corner, I will fight it out with this blanket. वहाँ पे कुछ वो नहीं दिखा मुझे, वो जो fire extinguisher होता है. I will fight with the. Then they said, okay. Khair, this could not be the best of the answers, because what I scored in the interview was terrible. Not because I was not fit for the interview, but because my circumstances were terrible. The worst of my life, which I am not going to forget, not going to forgive anybody. So, khair, okay, that was all fate. But then again, I came out of that, whole depressing years, and I rebuild my empire, rebuild my world, not empire, world. Okay, that is what you have to do also. Bhulna mat, failing in interview doesn't mean the life is over. Life may be beginning for some better things there itself. Okay, emotionally mat dekhna UPSC ko, kabhi nahi, because out of 1 million, only 1,000 is going to be selected. And only 100 or 150 will be IAS. 150, another 150 could be IPS. बाकी सब लोग तो कुछ लोग इधर उधर जाते ही हैं. Okay, so the question will be situational, or you can call it circumstantial. So questions could be circumstantial. So situational, circumstantial. Now, in typology, you can have other questions which will be direct questions to you, confronting you, testing you. Direct confrontation log kar dete hain. Something like, tell me about yourself. Tell me about 5 demerits of yourself. ऐसे questions भी आ सकते हैं. So situational or circumstantial or direct questions could be asked. So stage 1 is about your biodata and introduction. Then stage 2 will be on your general awareness. General awareness पे चला जाएगा. Now in general awareness, questions could be from geopolitics. जो मैंने अभी डिस्कस किया, something which I was discussing, question could be from the physical environment. It could be from the social environment, social ecology, society, whatever. Then it could be from your economic environment, likewise. So they keep the right to ask you, generally they will ask you from these 4 sectors. We have done all this. So second stage will be on your general awareness, your general knowledge, awareness and knowledge also. So that will be your second stage. And then you will have third part of the interview will be about your IQ, SQ and EQ. This will be tested. I mean, there is no such rule. You can enter the board and stage 3 will be on your head. Even this is possible. It is also possible that this section may not be asked from you. And interviewers are mostly stuck on stage 2, the general awareness and knowledge. Now what happens that when your interview is on day 1 to day 7 or even day 1 to day 10, you are one of the first earliest to go to see the board, to meet the board. So you will be barged with lots of current affair questions. There is a likelihood because the interviewers are prepared for them. Now, they will also have that monotony and fatigue. They are also human beings. So they are fed up asking you general awareness. And in the second list of interviewers, you will find mostly the questions are coming from IQ, EQ, SQ, your biodata, and maybe a few questions. I'm again telling you this cannot be the rule, but a general survey reveals these facts and you got to trust, at least they are representing partial truth. They are not laws, but they are stochastic laws. Half truth to hai hi hai. So IQ, SQ and EQ. Now what is IQ, SQ and EQ? IQ is, सबको पता है, intelligence quotient, spiritual quotient and emotional quotient. गोलमैन का थ्योरी सुना है ना ethics में. So this part I will rather call the question, stage 3 will be from ethics. ये ethics वाले पेपर से बहुत मिलता जुलता सेशन होता है. So your ethics, but whatever you have done in your mains, even that should be revised. The case study should be revised. You should be learning them, the principles, your decision making capacity. So all these three leads to what? They leads to decision making. They leads to decision making. And your decision making will be reflected in your external behavior or answering. Your answering. Now, what is SQ? In one word, I will like to tell you that this is your value system. What is IQ? Is obviously your power to learn and recall and reproduce. Power to learn, recall and reproduce. I'm using generally, deliberately a simple language so that all of you could make out the meaning of it. Now, what is EQ? So, EQ is simply emotional quotient. So that's your, abstract, the abstract ideas, your ideology, your notions. They are all for part of your emotional quotient. जैसे तुम कितने सेकुलर हो, या कितना कॉम्युनल हो, या कास्टिज्म कितना है. वन ऑफ माई स्टूडेंट, शी वॉज फ्रॉम हरियाणा एंड शी सेड इन द IAS इंटरव्यू that I am a Jat and I'm proud of being a Jat. मैंने तो सर पकड़ लिया, क्या बोल के आ गए तुम. She got one of the poorest and she is still struggling. Then life never comes back to you. So don't create such mistakes. ऐसा गलती नहीं करना है, तो यहां फेल नहीं करना है. ओके, सो यू हैव IQ, SQ एंड EQ. ये इस पे टेस्ट होने लगता है. इज नथिंग बट योर वैल्यू सिस्टम, योर डिसीजन मेकिंग, योर एथिक्स पार्ट, हाउ मच यू लर्न एंड हाउ मच यू कैन रिकलेक्ट. ये पूरा तुम्हारा एक सेशन होगा जिसमें दे विल आस्क यू क्वेश्चंस ऑन मोरालिटी, एथिक्स. Your IQ will be tested. So that will be session number 3. And then, stage 3 or session number 3, whatever. And then, in the same, I would like to tell you that here only, this is your psychological analysis. You can call it through all this. What they do your psychological analysis. All right, and then you have a stage 4. So stage 4, they are grossly satisfied. If they are grossly satisfied, then the stage 4 will come, or otherwise you will be out after the stage 3. Now if the stage 4 is taking place, that conversation is taking place with you, it simply means that you have done well. Then that stage 4 comes. Now stage 4 will be about your own life. Your own life. It will be about very general things. मैं इसको बोलूंगा individual questions. Then they will be testing your bureaucratic abilities. Very important. Here they will have individual questions. They will be testing your bureaucratic abilities. Because once you have qualified in stage 1, 2 and 3, stage 4 में they are testing your quality, bureaucratic quality कितना है इसमें. And if you are able to manifest that you have immense bureaucratic qualities, 240 is on. 240 is definitely on. अगर इंटरव्यू लास्ट में, एंड में जाकर के, if they start asking you on some bureaucratic problems, some सिचुएशन जिसको सॉल्व करवा रहा है तुमसे, तो दे आर टेस्टिंग योर ब्यूरोक्रेटिक एबिलिटीज. एंड द इंटरव्यू मस्ट एंड इन ए हैप्पी नोट. ऑलवेज कीप स्माइलिंग इन द बोर्ड, नॉट दैट कनिंग स्माइल और दैट फेक स्माइल. वो अंदर से आता है स्माइल, स्पिरिचुअल स्माइल, दैट दैट शांति, दैट पीस ऑन योर फेस. So a smile, I can tell you one thing, that a smile is the most potent weapon gifted by the God or the nature. सबसे potent weapon है, सबसे lethal weapon है your smile. So always keep smiling, always spread goodness. From Alok Ranjan, it's time to say bye-bye. So I will take your leave, and I hope you enjoyed this session. It was rapid. It was, I think, forceful. So I hope you are going through the video 2-3 times. Namaskar. Bye bye. Take care. All the best from my side. Thank you.